Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin and Rugby preview show on our YouTube channel. Please don't be shy with a like and or subscribe button if you can. Join me to look ahead to Saturday's final Six Nations clash for Ireland is someone making Harpin Pod appearance number 111. Welcome again to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
My lucky number 111. Yes, I've spoken to you more times than I've spoken to my wife this week. But yes, it's good to see you ahead of a long weekend.
Absolutely. Well, before we start, Keego, like you say, we actually had an extra chat during the week about the test ticket prices. Viewers can find that a couple of videos back on our feed there. But as we recorded, I actually put off asking you for your quick thoughts on the French match. So maybe we could just get that out of the way and you can offer them now.
Yeah, I'll try and be quick. So
Yeah.
first watch, very emotional, tough, horrific day at the office. But then I watched it again, and with the emotion and the result gone, like much like anything, it was nowhere near as bad as we initially thought. It's unfortunate because, you look at the guys who came on, Conan Baird and was it Ryan? I can't remember. They did a great job, but and when you look at up to 50 points or 50 minutes, 51 minutes, we were in the game, we were leading the game, we were starting to turn a corner. It's a bit like when if you're watching a boxing match and all the body shots accumulate, they were starting to accumulate with France. And you look at that try we had, Sheehan's try in the second half, like that was working. All the set piece was working. The game plan was working well. But Genie Mac, the mutants they brought on and the skill level just took it out of us. And like they've got things that we don't have. The big narrative was, we need bigger players, faster players, stronger players. Like that's not our genetic makeup. We are not that. And we've, in order for us to beat teams like France, South Africa, New Zealand, we have to have 90+%, and they have to be slightly below, and we'll scrape by. Like I wish I could play in the NBA. Love basketball. I'm 5'8". I'm never going to play in the NBA. So if I was to play basketball, I'd have to find another way of competing. And that's what we have to do. And that's what we have been doing over the years. It was just a horrific day at the office.
Yeah, I mean, 7-1 bench is a risk. And the French just had a perfect storm as well. They were fired up. The DuPont thing really didn't hurt that at halftime. They came out of that second half, especially ready to roll us over. I mean, they didn't have, they were kind of lucky not to get too many more injuries in the backs. But I mean, it was just a question that they were just the better team of the day. They wanted it more than we did. I think is the cliche of choice for it, and it was but like you say, it was disappointing, but it wasn't, it wasn't, a complete disaster. We had no right to win absolutely every single game. But it's all about what happens next, and that's all we can do. So let's now look at our feature match of the week, which was, of course, Italy v Ireland in round 5 of the 2025 Guinness Men's Six Nations Championship. The game is taking place at the Stadio Olimpico on Saturday, March the 15th, kicking off at 2:15 p.m. TV coverage is on RTE2 and ITV1. Ireland named their matchday squad at lunchtime on Thursday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen. Or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Keego has picked out some points about the Ireland team for us, starting with Mr. Jack Conan.
Delighted for Jack Conan, not just because he's from Bray, but like the shift he's put in, if you think about it, injuries aside, over the last 3, 4 years is epic. And his only problem is generally as an eight, Caelan Doris is right there. That's the problem. So I think he's playing at six this week,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted that he gets a start. He will take advantage of it. Anyone, any jersey, tell me the last time Jack Conan had a bad game.
Mm.
So I'm delighted that he gets a start. And listen, with the War God marching off and all this sort of stuff, this may be how he works his way back into the system. Like obviously he can play any. Well, I don't know if he plays seven that often, but he 6 and 8, he can migrate between those two depending on what we need. With a nailed on seven in blue and green. I think this might be the start of a beautiful relationship we have with Jack Conan in the big jersey.
Absolutely. I mean, the six of all the positions in our forwards, I'd say the six was possibly the most that we could sort of tinker with. We have a lot of options there. Even Tyke Byrne can go
Like
there
Byrne, yeah.
in the stretch. The Peter O'Mahony, now he's moved on. So, but Jack Conan is one of those players. Like we always hear, you hear more about the non-Leinster players that might deserve to be in the Irish team and haven't. You don't hear much about the Leinster ones, I suppose, for obvious reasons. But Jack Conan is definitely in that. I mean, it's hard for him to get in the Leinster team
Yeah.
at the moment, and he's in the form of his life when he comes on, carrying line out option pretty much everything. And it'd be good to see him there to see what kind of a shift he can put in wearing the starting six jersey for sure. Okay, your next is about the overall team selection.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going to happen after last week. So you kind of think, well, do we give the same guys a shot to, I can only say redeem themselves. That's a wrong phrase. I'm under caffeinated, but to go again and reset, and I don't think any of us would have begrudged them if they did that, if they came out and said that. But I think the selection they've done sends great messages. Ryan starting, McCarthy on the bench, which I think is a little bit of a kick in the arse for last week, which is absolutely fine. After this week, it's done. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think Aki on the bench, as much as I love seeing Aki, I want to see him play 80 minutes. I can only imagine if you think about it last week, right? Now, I know there was injuries and stuff, but if you think about it last week, if you imagine when the French subs came on, Aki comes on. Like, just imagine what that would have done. The crowd would have raised in terms of noise, which we spoke about in our previous pod. And he would have put a few hits in on those guys and made them go backwards a little bit. So Aki on the bench is always, always beautiful. And then obviously we've got Crowley in. I know there's been a bit of chicanery during the week with, his management team have done a Raj or a Bod from back in the day. Um, but he needs a start. Like, it is what it is. Taking there's no blue jersey on here. He has to start, and I think in general it should have been, 2 and 3, depending on experience in terms of the amount of games they play. Now, I'd love for him to get as much of this game as he can. I don't think they should do half and half. I think he should get as much of the game as he can, and then we move on from there. But yeah, like, it's a good change. The team selection is great. Bench is great. I'm good at for those who are left at home, but I'm happy with the selection, which is weird after last week.
Yeah, before the tournament, I said I had Jack Crowley as my number 10.
Yeah,
And we're supposed to be, a Leinster pod, whatever. Most people did.
yeah,
They had a plan to give Prendergast some game time, and we come out of this tournament with two out halves with game time. And I suppose the question is, Crowley's the right fit for this game. Is it because of the previous 4 weeks, or is it because we're playing Italy? I mean, we don't know. We don't know for sure. I think it's important that we do manage Sam's confidence, but obviously they've thought of that. They've, the arm around his shoulder. He would have known in advance. He might have known that he wasn't going to start against Italy even before last week.
yeah.
We don't know, but it is a success if we come out of this with two strong options for that 10 jersey with game time behind them. That's be great for us going forward. As for Bundyaki, him coming off the bench, obviously his plan is usually just get a bloody nose as soon as possible, look as fierce as he possibly can, make some serious faces, throw some shapes, and scare the bejesus out of the opposition. And no doubt he'll do that. Okay, your third point is about maybe forget about championships at this point.
Yeah, I think, like, the good and bad thing about last week was it was the game of the tournament. You know what I mean? Whoever wins that will go on, barring disasters. So I think we need to don't think about it. I think go out, put a shift in, put points on the board, like, as in send a message. That's what this is all about. If it ends up with Ireland putting 100 points on them, fine. If it ends up, less than that, fine. But we've got to send a message that we're organized, we're happy, and we're ready to rock and roll. And last week was an aberration. Word of the day, toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
And we can move forward into, November's only round the corner. You know what I mean? So, like, everything is coming thick and fast. So we need a big finish to this tournament. We need to just send a message to everybody else, because Italy are no joke. You know, if you want to play Italy or Wales in the last game of the Six Nations, we know which one we want to play. And it's the complete, if you're over the age of 35, the answer is very different now. So I think, we've got to put a message in here, and we've got to put a lot of points on the board, and we will do it. But I think forget about the tournament for now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a feature called Throwback Thursday on our Substack, where we just remember a game, similar game to this weekend's from years gone by, and I had to go back to the 2007 Six Nations when we were playing the first game of the day. The championship was on the line. It was against France. We were playing Italy, but we were up against. So we had to score as many points as we could. We did, we shipped a try in the last minute, and then the France Scotland game later, which is the same as this week as well, went down to the very last call of the game. It
Yeah.
was a TMO call. The TMO was Irish, locked in a booth in Paris, afraid of what would happen if you came out and gave it the other way. But this time, I think you're right. I think we need to forget because we're the first game. The other games are going to happen to us. Nothing we can do after this game is over. Concentrate on the 80 minutes. Make the statement we can. Put as right as we can the wrongs from last week, and see where we go from there. And I think it's a good overall 23 to do that. So we'll see how they get on. And great to see Ty Furlong's name back on that team.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way, I'm as a Leinster fan, I'm kind of hoping he'll get some game time maybe in South Africa the next couple of weeks because he needs to get some minutes in the boots. But for this, it'd be great. He would be another great face to see off that bench, and it's a very strong bench as well with a lot of experience for sure. Okay, now it's time to have a quick look at Italy. Now we must remember they actually kind of have something to play for on Saturday, or at least something to avoid. That's namely that dreaded wooden spoon. Whatever happens at the foot of the table, we could see history being made. If the Welsh finish last, they'll be the first non-Italian team to get two consecutive kitchen implements, while the Azzurri could themselves become the first team to finish behind one who's lost all their matches, if that makes sense. So anyway, what do you make of their lineup, Keego?
Your last sentence confused me
I
there.
know, I know.
Yeah.
I have to watch it. It's to get everyone to watch it a few times and get a few more views, you know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, look, Italy, the job Italy have done in the club game and in the big jersey, in the last maybe 2.5 years is really, really impressive. And like that sounds condescending. I don't mean it that way. They've picked. I like their 9 and 10. I think they're smart guys. One of the wingers. I can't remember which winger is great to watch.
Couple
And
what
like
so I'd say.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
they're at home. They may see us as as an opportunity for another turnover on tomorrow, but they're going to go for it. There's too much in green for them to get in there, but like I do feel that they won't be. It's just when you said wooden spoon there, I got flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I don't like. They're going to avoid the wooden spoon, which is amazing for them. And again, sounding condescending, but yeah, like everything, they'll show up, they'll go for it, they'll sing the anthem, the people will be loud, full of pasta, full of carbonara, and they'll be ready to go. But like we, as we said last week or the week before, we have to say we're going to win
Mm.
and we're going to win well. Italy are going to try and try hard, but like we have to make peace with the fact that we should be winning this game by quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the starting lineup, and that is quite a backline there. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of names there. Brex, the captain, Menoncello has been player of the tournament before. Capuozzo. I mean, they've all done amazing things in the Six Nations. But from Ireland's point of view, all they've heard for the past 7 days is how we got beaten up with the forwards over and over and over again. Now, Italy have gone with a 6-2 bench,
Hmm.
but we've gone with the more standard 5-3, unless the 6-2 we had last week. But I'm hoping that our forwards can take that energy and take that disappointment from last week and turn it into a display where we can just sort of nullify their backs and win the game up front this week. I think that's really important, especially if the weather conditions pan out the way they're going to be. But listen,
Yeah.
it's an interesting lineup and a very strong back line, but hopefully they won't get to use them. Okay, so I have a quick look at our officials there. Luke Pierce is holding the whistle. Mr. Angus Gardner is one of the assistants. It's a sort of a multinational assistance there for Luke. But and the weather for Rome, like I said, it's going to be warm, 18 degrees, which we take in Dublin right now. But the official forecast is variably cloudy with occasional showers. It's like a 2/3 chance of rain, not much wind, so that'll make the conditions interesting. Next up for us is Keego to look at the other matches this weekend. Which one stands out for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's gonna feel weird, but I'm gonna be cheering on England. Uh,
I do not
delete,
associate myself with his
delete that,
no, no,
delete
no,
that.
delete that. Yeah,
We'll record
yeah.
this again. No, like because my dislike for Wales it grows. Whether it's their club team or their national side, the Welsh people are beautiful, but I
Mhm.
just dislike them randomly. So England are gonna smack them with a wooden spoon, and Italy are going to avoid the wooden spoon. So I'll try and get into that, but it's all focused at 2:15, and like after that, I'm not kind of on the edge of my seat for the rest of the tournament. But like I'll dip into the England game, and like hopefully they do it. Like it could be England, and they could just wet the bed again. So we don't know. They're like the annoying thing is they beat France.
Mm.
Like that's the most. And forget about
It's
the scoreline
particularly
last week.
annoying to France.
Yeah, forget
Yeah.
about the, and it shows how tough Grand Slams are. But like that England team are muck, and that Welsh team are muck. Like, let's say what it is. So it's going to be a muck fest, and hopefully England win, and then we can go back to normal service next week.
You say the Welsh team are muck, but according to Warren Gatland, they're also woke, which I didn't know was a thing. But anyway, listen, we'll leave that where it is. Also, we're recording this at lunchtime on Friday, which means that the Wolf Puppies are still to play. They have one more match to play on Friday evening. It's in the Stadio Monigo in Treviso. That game's on RTE2. So best of luck to Neil Doak and all the team there. Okay, Keego, it's head on the block time. How do you see it going in Rome on Saturday?
I think it's going to be it has to be a big score. Like it's not going to be plus 100, but it'll be plus 20.
Yeah, I take it. I take it just a strong performance, like I say. The forwards really have to front up and put in a shift. Now, having said that, the set pieces last week were really good.
Yeah, yeah,
They were just. I think we overthrew one line out, and the scrums were perfect, and the lineouts were mostly good. But they need to follow it up after that, obviously, and we'll just have to see what happens. But I think you're right. Is it arrogance? I don't know, or is it just what we've seen, the form that we think that Ireland should be expected to win comfortably, and hopefully they'll go that little bit extra and put out a statement score. Okay, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up?
So we're in the build up to the end of the month. We have the Dot Theatre on the 28th, the Mill Theatre on the 29th, and then we're back in Greystones the following month. So we're back up and running there every month. So yeah, busy times. But yeah,
Brilliant.
get through Paddy's weekend safely, everybody.
Brilliant. And of course, you'll find a link to all Keego stuff in the program notes. So many thanks to you all for checking out our latest preview show. If you can, tune into Dublin South FM after the 5 o'clock news. You'll catch our latest Harpin segment there. Then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are and leave a comment on our Facebook page after the full-time whistle. We will, of course, have our wrap pod for you, which we'll record on Sunday night. Hopefully, you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.